Happy Wednesday. It's hump day, and here I am to talk about the tip of the week when it comes to marketing. Recently, we've been going over a series on SEO, search engine optimization, which are all the tips and tricks to make your website more relevant on Google. And these have been deep dives, very technical. We have one left in our series on technical, but I want to give a quick overview on what we've covered so far. So I went through a main overview was the first one in the series. And the second one was a deep dive on the technology. It's very techy, but overall what we believe is that in an SEO strategy, you divide up your SEO between two different efforts, your technology efforts and your content efforts. Just really quick, please definitely go back to the previous video to read, to hear more about it. And you'll be taking notes, I'm sure. But in technology, you want to protect your site. You work really hard writing content, writing blog articles, having pages, promoting your website out on social media or sending out a lot of emails, and people are going to your site. Google sees that, and you have relevance. You've gained and earned a lot of respect with Google. You need to protect your site and make sure it doesn't get infected, it doesn't crash, your provider doesn't go offline, you pay your bill, all those kinds of things. If you have downtime on your site or if you get infected, all of that work to make your website relevant is lost. So by all means, protect your site. You get what you pay for. I've seen a lot of companies call me up and they say, well, I'm paying $6 a month for my hosting provider. And that's why it runs slow, or that's why it locks up or crashes, or that's why it doesn't include backups. So you get what you pay for. Definitely make sure that you are protecting your website. Another technology one quickly was website speed. If your website's not fast, your website's not relevant, and Google's going to walk and send someone somewhere else because they have your reputation to uphold. So it's very important that you have a fast website. There's a whole lot of deep dives in my previous video and a bunch of articles on the internet, but yes, make sure that your website is fast. There's a lot more when it comes to the technology of your site, protocols, for example, certain methods or types of images that you use that Google prefers. It can get really complicated really fast, but when you work with a website company that knows what they're doing, they should give you a website that Google will eat like candy. So anyway, definitely protect your site, focus on the technology, that's important. But now on the other side of it, when you have all your technology in place, the content matters. What you say and how you say it. Last week what I spoke on in content was more on titles and tags. Remember, Google's just a program. It's an algorithm that reads your site. How is a computer going to find out what words are important? When you look at your website, you'll say things like, we've been serving the industry for 20 years. Now that's a great phrase to earn the trust of people who are reading your site, but no one searches for plumber near me who's been doing this for 20 years. They just search for plumber near me. So the words that you want to say to a person when they've made it to your site are different than the words that a person uses when they're searching for your site. So you need to think about those. If your site's written only for the people that make it to your site and not for the people searching, you're not going to get an audience. Obviously, if you write only for the searcher, well, now you're not going to keep your audience. They will be bored on your website. So those are some important things you want to take into consideration. When you look at that, how does Google realize what are the most important words? A website can easily have, thousands of words. So what Google does is uses things such as your title tag and headlines throughout the body of your text to find out which words are more important than others. So they're weighted. So by all means, make sure that you are smart with your headline tags. They're also called H1 tags, your alt tags, and your titles. So it's kind of a summary of all the SEO really quickly. That was the last 4 videos all on SEO wrapped up in a couple seconds. Today I'm going to talk about more on content, but instead of going into how you use your words and where you place them and using titles, what I want to talk more on with your website is the keywords, choosing your keywords. And what I've noticed is it really has to do with features versus benefits. people are emotionally engaged with what you have to sell because you're selling them the benefits, that your product makes them look better, saves them money, saves them time. Those are important, but people don't search for the benefits, they search for the features. So a keyword would be a feature. If you are a plumber, it would be plumber San Luis Obispo. That's an important one, for example. And you would want to say that and not only have what you do and where you do it somewhere on your site, but you want to have it in those important areas like a headline or a title. At the same time, what you want to do is make sure that you use your keywords, and you use many of them. Obviously, people don't serve just a city, they probably serve an area. So they might want to pick multiple keywords and then use them throughout their site. Have one page that's specific to one geographical area, right? Make another page that's specific to another one. When it comes to keywords, a good example that I have is when I was consulting an electrician. A big electrical contracting company here on the Central Coast. They work with a lot of wineries, they work with a lot of manufacturing areas, and they do residential electrical work. And they've been trying to grow the residential business, and it just hasn't been happening. So we talked, and I was looking at their website, and I realized two problems. One is their electrical work was electrical contractors for commercial applications and for residential. And in the residential, it was below the fold, so you had to scroll to the bottom half of the page to read about residential. So that was problem number one. And problem number two is they called it electrical contractor. And I don't know about you, but when most people search on the internet for a problem they're having with the electricity in their house, they don't search for electrical contractor, they search for electrician. So when it comes to choosing keywords, if you're working on your website and you're building it yourself, there's what's called the curse of knowledge. You are writing terminology that you frequently use, that the industry uses, but not what the customer uses. So definitely pay attention to that. Please, by all means, as we're talking about these things, post questions right now in the video. I'll be more than happy to answer those and look at those also, because next week we'll be doing an FAQ. So back to what we were talking about with content. When it comes to keywords and your SEO, you have sort of this problem. You have an idea of what your keywords should be. You have an idea of what people might be searching for, so you can move in the right direction, but you don't actually know. For example, do people type in electrician or electrical contractor? Do they search for plumber near me or leaky plumbing? And we probably know the answer of those today, but some of the nuances, singular form versus plural when someone's searching for a specific product, for example, those actually matter. And in some cases, it's the difference between a person trying to do it themselves versus a person who's looking to buy. So you need to know and measure what those are, but you don't get those in your SEO efforts. You get those in your pay-per-click efforts. It's kind of a complicated concept, but the reality is in your SEO, you need to know what Google finds important. You put on your thinking cap, you think like a searcher, and you write your website in that area for that person, for that audience. And then what you do is, that's your first effort, that's the best you can do. Then when you engage in pay-per-click advertising, when you are buying ads, you can actually research the engagement, what a person searched that got to your site that resulted in a phone call or a purchase. And when you get enough data, you can actually see what's really important. Do they search for plumbers, or do they search for plumbing, or just plumber singular, for example? And as soon as you know those, now you can go back into all the SEO you did and make those minor corrections to make it even closer to the searcher who is looking to buy and engage your business right now. They're not in a research phase, or they're not looking to do it themselves. Finally, my last tip when it comes to content has to do with reading level. If you are the expert in your business, you talk up here. And it's also has to do with the concept of the curse of knowledge. You talk at a very high level, you know it inside and out. And when you are talking to a customer, or you're writing content, or doing a Facebook Live, you try to dumb it down or simplify it down to mid-grade, a level 5. But the problem is that most people are at a level 2, level 1, and you're still stuck talking about these very complicated concepts. So from pay-per-click advertising, you are fed from Google the actual search terms people use. And maybe someone searches for construction on the wires of my house. They don't even use the word electrician. Now, if you knew people searched at that simple of a layer, as that simple of a level, it would completely change what you would say on your website. You wouldn't say electrical contractor. You wouldn't say electrician. You would say wires in my home. That's making sure that what you write is at the reading level of your customer. And it's hard to get that kind of feedback. You filter it out all the time. The other thing that you can do is you can copy all the text of any web page that you have and do a search for reading level calculator or reading level measuring tool. There's free ones on the internet. You can paste the text of what you have on your website on these tools to measure what your reading level is at. And you want a grade level of eighth grade, 7th grade. Most people, when they write it and they're experts in their industry, they're rating at the 12th grade or college reading level. And it sounds really nice. It sounds great for your competitors and for you, but it doesn't sell. We actually did something similar for this for one client that offered a service in food studies and food testing. They were writing at the college level, and Walmart has a whole article on their, they sell food, and they have a whole article on their food safety. And when you actually measure theirs was at the 8.5 grade reading level. They know what they're doing in their copy to make sure it fits with what people are searching for. So take a lesson from a very successful company. Make sure your reading level is down lower to where most people are at. So we're talking about 8th grade, 7th grade. So anyway, in summary, I want to talk about what's moving forward. We're really excited about what we're going to be doing next week and trying to do some type of FAQ series. There's a lot of questions that come our way in the regards of marketing, advertising, SEO, and websites. So we're really looking for your questions. I want this to be interactive if possible. I'd love to see questions come up in the feed during these Facebook Lives. And, and since I do a lot of public speaking, some of the questions that come to me are, how long should my blog article be? Or how many pages should my website have? Another question, what is better, SEO or PPC? I'm more than happy to answer those, but what I'm really looking forward to is, a interactive stream of questions coming in, so that way I can answer it in the general, and then hopefully have a follow-up question from that person so they can at least tell me what their industry is, for example, and then we can add a little more interactivity to it. So anyway, I hope from the end of this FAQ series that we're going to do to be able to record many articles, many different videos of answering these questions. And if we get enough of them, what we can do is kind of pool them together and have a theme of an FAQ question and answer session where one's focused on websites, one's focused on social media efforts, and so on. So anyway, please come up with your questions. You can email me. My email address is josh@smsrd.com. Feel free to post on our Facebook page here, or here on this video as well. I love your questions and comments. Have a great day, and we'll talk to you next week.